G'day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to take a look at a farming guide for where you can farm yourself some super attack levels and Kais to raise the super attack levels of units in Dokkan. Now if you need more help on using other units to raise super attack levels, I'll redirect you in the top right hand corner to a video. But we're going to start with Trunks. Now it's very important not to get too confused. But there are two events up right now that drop Trunkses. Well, there's actually three, but there's two that drop Trunkses that are of importance. We're talking Trunks Teen and currently Trunks Future Teen and Super Saiyan Trunks Future Teen. And it's important to note that there's a very different distinction between Teen and Future Teen Trunks. So you need to make sure that the units you're choosing have that exact same name as that Trunks. But there's a lot of great options here. Plenty of Alars, plenty of solid, standard units, talking AGL Trunks, Tech Trunks, lots of them that you're probably going to be getting and wanting to raise the super attack level of very, very shortly, or if you don't have them, probably do want to work on, since especially Tech Trunks is getting his EZA, so definitely a good time to consider doing this. So yeah, I highly suggest that you focus on that aspect. Now outside of that, we also have, to cut a long story short, we also going to skip Zarbon because there's no useful Zarbon. We're then moving on to Krillin. So Krillin, pretty big pickup. Obviously, in terms of farmable Krillins, there's the Bubba Shop one. The reason I mention him, even though he's technically free to play, is it saves you a lot of Bubba points to use this Krillin instead of using the Bubba Shop Krillin. But there's plenty, especially the World Tournament Krillin. I think is probably the most important one, as he's a really, really big unit for that World Tournament, Earth-bred fighters team. Then we have the next event, which drops for us a Goku. Now, base Goku has plenty uses. Int LR Goku has his base form as Goku. The AGL Transforming Goku has his base form as Goku. There's a ton of base form Gokus that you can raise the super attack level of. So it's very important to make sure that you do that. Kaioken Gokus, remember, don't count, so you are going to have to be careful of that. But there's so many good Gokus that you can raise the super attack of. The strength one I've mentioned, but the AGL transforming one into LR Goku starts as a base Goku. There's plenty of great Gokus. Just remember that Kaioken doesn't count. But yeah, outside of that, really, really, really good options, honestly speaking. So yeah, so far, pretty straightforward. Beyond that point, okay, now we're starting to look at some maybe a bit more left field choices, but still some pretty good options. Remember, if a unit starts as an SSR, it's an automatic 50% chance. If you awaken them, or Z-awaken them I should say, they become a 100% chance. So just remember that when you are working on these units. Next we have Hercule. Hercule, nothing too crazy in terms of summonable units. You can use them to help out with the Tech LR Hercule, but also you can use them to help out with the Int Hercule. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, pretty straightforward stuff from that point onwards. Then of course, when we're talking units and we're talking things to do, I would say obviously you want to consider the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now this Int Goku can be awakened to Super Saiyan 3. It's a bit of a grind, but it does help out. Now in terms of Super Saiyan 3 Gokus to be kind of considerate of, I would say the strength and the AGL one aren't really worth the time. I know you can do it, but yeah, the amount of effort it's going to take you to raise 10 Gokus to SS3 stage to save on those Kais just doesn't feel worth it. That's my opinion, of course. Yours might be different, but I just kind of want to point that out to you because although I'm suggesting it, I don't think it's worth it in the long run. Otherwise, other than that, he's just a base form of Goku, and it doesn't matter so much. Now, this next event, the Goku and the Goten aren't too useful, but the useful units go on Teen, and you can also farm chocolates. Now, we'll come and talk about the chocolates later when we talk about Elder Kais. But the Gohan Teen is pretty useful. Remember, there's the Tech Gohan Teen, and he's probably, obviously, when you bring to mind, the most obvious example of a unit that you probably want to raise the SA of. Just a fantastic unit that's really, really good. Remember, Gohan Teen does not count for Ultimate Gohan. It is the stage before Ultimate Gohan. So like Strength Ultimate Gohan, unfortunately you can't raise with this one. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Now, outside of that, pretty straightforward stuff, I would say. You know, if we're looking at the kind of stories, Zamasu, really good pickup. Obviously AGL Zamasu being very much highlighted, but there's also the int and strength Zamasus you can also boost the power of as well. So very, very big, not fusion Zamasus, but baseline Zamasus you can use him for, which is, in my case, pretty good. Android 14 and 15, not too important. In this event, there's another Trunks here. I don't find this one as usable. However, there are 3 units here that have great usability. We're looking at 17 Future and 18 Future, which are both pretty decent. And we're looking at Future Gohan. So Future Gohan, obviously the int one and the physical one. That Gohan can be awakened to a Super Saiyan stage. So the physical Super Saiyan one, definitely a good pickup. And the int one, also a pretty good pickup. So you got the 2 Gohans there, and you've also got the Future 17 and Future 18. Not too many notable Future 17 and 18 units, but at least some, relatively okay options. Now you can't use them for the duo units, which is probably the biggest shame, but overall pretty decent kind of functionality, and just a decent amount of units to farm from that one event. Next we have a Vegeta. I've skipped Goku because there's plenty of base form Gokus at this point, and this one doesn't turn into anything interesting. Base form Vegeta, good for Scouter Vegetas, the Majin Buu Saga Vegetas, pretty much any Vegeta to a certain point is going to be pretty good with this Vegeta. So it's a nice kind of versatile pickup, very akin to Goku obviously. Then we look at the androids in action. Now this one has a Goku that turns into a Super Saiyan Goku, so that's going to be something usable. Super Saiyan Goku, obviously plenty of versatility there, lots of base forms of Super Saiyan, lots of variety in terms of units that are going to be useful from the perspective of Super Saiyan. Except for this transforming one, remember he starts as a baseline Goku. But yeah, still pretty good stuff. Plenty of units need a base form Super Saiyan Goku to use as super attack fodder. So that's going to be something that's very, very useful to you overall. So just remember that when you are obviously looking at picking up some decent pickups in terms of units. And yeah, obviously next we're looking at 17 and 18. Plenty of 17s and 18s, most notably MVP 17. But there's, just avoid the future ones, but mainly 17 as in the MVP one. Strength one's pretty decent. On the Android 18 side, the int one's okay, and then the strength one's also pretty decent. So yeah, those are solid pickups at this point. Then, beyond that, we're looking at the Kale and Caulifla. Now they start as base form Kale and Caulifla, which gives them some decent variety, and they turn into Super Saiyan 2 Kale and Caulifla. Now Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla has some pretty good usage for this AGL one, but the Kale doesn't have much usage. So outside of the base forms of Caulifla and Kale, just that Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, and then you're pretty much good to go. So not a massive, not a massive amount of versatility when it comes to the units there, but still some pretty decent pickups. You can't use them for any of the LRs, unfortunately. And yeah, then we have Kaba, who's kind of the final farmable unit. Now Kaba is pretty good, the int Kaba the most notable. Obviously he's a Super Saiyan, so just be wary of that. I think it's Kaba's second Dokkan Awakening that makes him SS2, so you're going to have to do a bit of work there. And then final mention, we have some chocolates to farm. So the only real farmable currency right now for Kais is the chocolates in the shop. So if you farm some chocolates, you can exchange them at the Bubba shop, and that's going to be able to net you some Kais, which is pretty cool. But outside of that, not too much usability. So the Kais will help you out. There's a couple there to pick up, which is really good. You're going to need them to farm that Gohan anyway. So while you're farming for that Gohan, if you're going to use them or not, go and grab the Kais. The other most notable area for Kais is just the Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash. You will be able to get some Grand Elder Kais from the 2 new EZAs if you don't plan on using them for the units themselves. That's it from me. Bye.